Hello, beautiful people. Can you believe that we are standing in the middle of the year? We are in June, and I am a little bit late for our June energy forecast, fashionably late. Now, this is a beautiful time, opportunity for us to actually take a breath, take a pulse, and reflect what have happened in the first half of 2022. And I have created a beautiful opportunity for you to do that from Feng Shui perspective. So before we jump into June's energy forecast, I really just want to quickly share this masterclass that I'm bringing towards the end of June called The Magic of 9 Stars. So this masterclass is about 90 minutes long. And this is beautiful if you know a little bit about Feng Shui flying star. Or you don't have to know a little bit, but you just interested, you know what a Feng Shui flying star is. And this very much provides you with the energy quality within your home. And if you have actually followed me on the monthly forecast, most of the monthly forecast, I also include the monthly Feng Shui flying stars. So, and this is a beautiful opportunity for us to look ahead for the next 6 months, you know, in terms of what would be the most auspicious energy within your home, in what sector, how you can activate it, or what would be the area that you really need to take care of, and how we can actually diffuse some of the negative stars or inauspicious stars. So there will be a lot of practical tips that I want to give you before the next month starts. So if you are interested in this, and feel free to, I'm going to just quickly share the screen. Feel free to actually sign up, because this is exclusively to my subscriber. Okay. Now, this masterclass is planned to be on the 26th of June from 10 a.m. But if you can't attend live, you will get a recording or replay of the masterclass, so you won't be missing out anything on that, okay? So now, let's look at the June energy forecast. Young fire horse. Finally, there's some fire energy comes in, right? If you have listened about 2022 yearly energy forecast, or the last few months, I've been keep talking about the absence of the fire energy. There's a lot of water, there is some wood, you know, some months have lots of wood, and there has no fire inside. And finally, we have a relief. We are entering into this energetic fire season. It actually started on the 6th of June, and the June young fire horse finished on the 6th of July, 2022. So let's look at the June monthly chart, right? So as I mentioned, the sun is finally up. What the sun is being represented in this chart is the young fire. So the young fire is always, we call, you know, the being fire is always the sun in the sky. So when the sun finally appeared, and guess what? There are 2 suns appearing in June. And on top of that, the young fire horse, you will notice, is also a fire energy. So the monthly energy is actually contains lots of fire. So it's like a feast or famine. We have been absolutely have no fire, and suddenly we have too much fire. So let's have a look. The good. What does the fire season brings us? The positive side is the fire energy always gives us that energy surge, right? And this is also in the northern hemisphere. It is summer. People are really just coming out with a beautiful sunny day, and people moving around, and COVID is under control, that we feel we have left that behind, and the happiness and joy starting to come back to our life, more optimism around. And it is that feeling of illumination and radiance were accompanied with the fire energy. Okay, so in the month of June, you will notice that the airlines will be very active. They will be pushing out a lot of fares, a lot of travel. People will be traveling a lot. People will be moving a lot more mobile. So it's a great month to embrace that. Embrace that warmth that, we've been really having a very long winter. So this warmth of the sun is desperately needed. And if you know that your 4 pillars of destiny chart that needing fire energy, and then you'll feel beautiful. This month is like, wow, relief. And a lot of things hasn't been moving along. It will just feels like suddenly the gate is open. Everything is on the move now. So you will be loving this month. And however, if your chart is actually already have a lot of fire or excessive fire energy, this is the negative side of when the fire becomes too overwhelming and too intense. Too excessive. Okay, so the bad or the negative side of having too much of one good thing is the energy surge in terms of price. And obviously that as soon as we entered the month of June, this energy talk is everywhere in terms of the price, cost of living, the inflation, or the petrol price, everything is going up. That's like the fire energy, right? Because the energy is the manifestation of the fire element. On the other hand, is also when there is this overwhelmingly fire energy, I unconsciously actually wearing blue, just trying to put out the fire a little bit. And you will also notice the fire accidents tend to happen or likely to happen within home. Short circuits. I actually had one last week while we were watching TV. So luckily, it wasn't a big problem, but things like that is a typical thing, especially in Australia, that we are going through winter. So people will have their heating, all kinds of heating is actually on. So just be really, really careful in terms of the safety around fire. Any fire hazard, just really be precautious around that, okay? So not only from the physical perspective in terms of the fire accident, explosion, but also in terms of the emotional surge, hot temper, or fuming was a word when I was actually writing that. Is really like this fire overwhelmingly, the fire is just getting on people's nerves, right? Impulsion and excessiveness. So be really gentle. When things suddenly you feel this surge of blood on your face, maybe restrain from communicating in that when you are in that state. And if you have a horse already in your chart, anywhere in your chart, this month is also called self-penalty, meaning that you are likely to self-sabotage yourself. You may do things that is creating issues out of nowhere. You created yourself. So this can be physical, this can be emotional and mentally as well. right? A typical example would be people think that they lost their wallet and they start to really calling everything, banks and everything, cancel all the cards, and then they find the wallet in another handbag. Self-penalty. So just a little example, but of course, everyone would experience that very differently. So this is just an example of the manifestation can happen in this way. Okay, so these are certain things I want to bring to your attention, not to create any fear, but to give you that power so you can actually preempt or manage, or when things showing up in your life, bring that calmness into you. Wear blue, bring some water to calm your spirit, whatever that water represents, right? That water can be walking the mountain, bushwalking, swimming, whatever actually the element that really calms you. Have a bath, right? If you love water, have a bath. Give yourself that still time. And this is where it is really needed during June to calm our spirit, our nervous system. Now, health indications. The fire element also represents the heart and, as I mentioned, nervous system, as well as the blood circulation. So if people who already have a heart issue, particularly with the senior people, like older parents or people who have some pre-existing health condition, really take care of that. Shoulders can, young fire can also represent the shoulders and small intestines. So pay attention to your diet as well as your movement. If you're doing any heavy lifting or doing weights, and be really careful not to create any injuries, especially now we're in winter. Another thing is going to show up prominently from now on all the way till period 9, and I mentioned this in period 9 masterclass, is the anxiety and mental health. So in June, this will really show up a lot as well, because it's being represented by the fire energy. And period 9 is also governed by the fire element. So depression, or how to manage your anxiety, becomes really important, that how we bring that calmness and create that spaciousness within ourselves. This can look different for different people. So it's really bring that care, self-care, self-love to our mental health. So if you do need any help around this area, don't forget that your cosmic blueprint speaks volume for you. If you go for the general idea, it might not be really for you, but your birth chart, your destiny chart is your cosmic energy makeup. So if you do need any help, feel free to reach out, okay? So I can provide you some insights. And this month, because of the 2 suns showing up, it will create a little bit of instability on the world stage. We all know we love the sun, but one sun is perfect. If you have 2 suns, it can be overly heating for the entire environment, right? Not only that, they don't like each other. Can never be 2 suns can exist in this universe. So you will see that fighting. You will see that power struggle within countries, within the East and the West. And this tension might manifest in a more prominent way. Maybe before was more underlying or undercurrent. It might showing up on the surface this month. And of course, the pressure on the economy as well. From the traditional Bazi or Chinese astrology, the young fire sitting on the horse animal sign horse, also representing a knife. We call a knife, which really just indicate injuries, attack, confrontation, violence of some kind. And especially if you recall the monthly energy chart I showed at the start, there is also a young metal showing up. So young metal is being represented by the sword, a warrior. So it's like a war, you know. So there's some tension in there, which, you know, that will probably will be showing up later in the month, in June. One thing that I do want to bring it to your attention, and you know that every month, I'd like you to focus from the energy perspective, because this is what I do very differently, right? From the energy forecast, I like to bring this one thing to you so that you, apart from all this, knowing what the energy, how the energy is moving, what is a good, what is a bad, how we can navigate your life path around it, so we can protect, we can rise above. But from the energy perspective, there is something that for this month is very interesting, is about shadow work. Why shadow work? Think of the sun. The sun is showing up. It's a beautiful time, or it provides out that illumination, right? It casts this light. When there is light, there is shadow. So this is the time. And fire is also actually the higher force, right? So this is a beautiful and powerful opportunity for you to really tune in within, connect with that divine guidance, higher force. Give it to the higher force. When you feel you're banging your head against the wall, when you feel things are just getting too intense, too much, I want you to just give it to the universe. Surrender. When you do that, when you see that part of you, you know, move through that deep part of you, the shadow, the dark side within, June is such a beautiful yet powerful time that you will be unlocked so much, right? Because we have this light, and at the same time that the shadow part will show up if you are open to receive. And this is where I want to share this, like, you know, Walt Whitman is one of my favorite writer. And he says, you know, in one of his writing, he says, keep your face always towards the sun and the shadows will fall behind you. So as we tune into the shadow part of you, it's not about, you know, dwell on that or finding this, you know, or what's the word, like, you know, dwell within those shadow part of you, the darker side of you, and indulge in that. That was a word, indulge in that. But to move through it, and how you move through it is to look at the light, right? Where there is light, there is this shadow part, and see that as a gift. So whenever their life has this seemingly challenging times, or conflict, confrontation, this attack maybe from other people showing up, see what is actually triggering you. See that is a beautiful gift that this month will bring you, to show you what part that you need to tune into to heal it. But at the end of it, come back to light. Come back to that warmth of the sunshine and see the beauty of it. Life sometimes can be a beautiful, messy time. We all experience that. smile at it, right? I want you to really embrace whatever this month is showing up for you. But the key thing is the shadow work, because if you're really tuned into it, it will show you that it will be a powerful time. I can guarantee you. Okay, so now flying star energy. As I mentioned, the masterclass, the Magic 9 Stars, is about this. It's about this little chart. You might feel it is so very overwhelming. So in this masterclass, I'm going to explain what does that mean. But most importantly, you don't have to learn all the nitty gritty stuff. You don't have to learn how to fly the stars. It's all there for you. And I'm going to map out the next 6 months. How are you going to move? Which months you need to be careful in what sector? So you have this like a ready reckoner to move through, you know, the upcoming 6 months, especially if you have found 2022, the first 6 months has been hard to navigate. It will be a good opportunity. It will be a good masterclass for you to dive into, okay, for your home. So using June as an example, the most challenging energy is the center and the south sector, because there is a sickness energy in the south and there is the 5 yellow energy in the center. But we'll talk about detail. What does each star means as well? What are the attributes for each star within your home? And the auspicious sectors are the northeast and northwest. So if your front door is in these 2 sectors, I think you will have a really beautiful month. Now, as I mentioned, the Magic of 9 Star Masterclass, if you have not registered for my newsletter, please do so following below link. And because basically the masterclass is open to all my subscribers, so you get all the details. Okay, so yes, so this is the June energy forecast. There is so much more coming through with Feng Shui Serenity in the next month or so. So we have the Magic of 9 Stars in late June. And I'm also having another half-day workshop called Lifting the Veil, how to connect with a higher guidance in July. It's more likely to be in mid to late July. But again, I will be sending out more details to my community. So jump on board if you haven't already, okay? So I wish you a beautiful, sunny and warm winter, beautiful sun. Okay, I'll see you next month.